regardless of who you're playing and when it is in the season, whether it's a friendly, whether it's a big game, whatever, if you lose a game in football, it's always really disappointing, isn't it? You can't get away from it. You support the club and that's it. And every West Ham fan will feel disappointment today, no doubt about it, considering the fact that we lost our opening game of the season against Aston Villa. It wasn't great. There were times, there were positives, negatives, but I've got to be honest, I feel like that was widely expected. That's how I feel anyway. I was anticipating it to be a tough game. I felt that it was always going to be a challenge with the fact that we've got so much change going on at the moment. New system, new players, everything that's going on. It's hard to imagine that West Ham are going to hit the ground running. We've kind of seen it anyway in pre-season, haven't we? That West Ham need more time for this team to click. It's going to take a while. But I think going into the game, when I did the preview, I'd sort of said that I was going to go with my heart. I thought we were going to go and win. My head was always thinking a draw. And let's get it straight, right? We were close to getting a draw. We weren't far away from it. In fact, we were that close from nicking a draw in that game. And I actually don't think it's all doom and gloom and bad, because I'm certainly not going down that rabbit hole. Do you know what I mean? Of thinking, oh God, this isn't great. This is the first game of the season. And we've got to put some things into perspective here, right? Not only of like the things I've just said about being a new side in terms of a system that we're trying to now to adopt. We've got new players to integrate into the side. And as well, it's the first game of the season. These players have been, a lot of them have been playing the Euros and summer. It's going to take a little while just for things to settle down. So I think you've got to put, keep that in mind. And the other thing as well was the opposition. We've just played a team, right, that finished in the Champions League spots last season. This is a really seriously decent Premier League side. We know we're not playing a side that you're expected to beat. It's tough. Premier League's tough, and we played a very good side, and we were close to getting something against them. And as I say, I don't think it was all doom and gloom. If anything, I thought actually as the game went on, things improved actually. But certainly the start wasn't good. I don't want to go through every detail of the game, but just going to go through a couple of the sort of main talking points. Obviously, Aston Villa went 1-0 up very early on, third minute, wasn't it? Onana. Really poor from a West Ham point of view, though. Really disappointing. Went in from a corner. It was so sort of, training ground basic stuff. That's what annoyed me with it. Just a total lack of, and this kind of for me showed the new player system, idea. Well, we looked a little bit out of sorts. Like we didn't really know what to do, and we weren't in quite the right frame of mind. It just wasn't good. The way we defended that was really poor. There's two players I really want to pick out on this. First one is Mikel Antonio, who was marking Onana for the corner. He just gets away from him far too easy, and it really annoys me, things like that, especially with Antonio. Do you know what I mean? Because you feel like this player is always, I've got something to prove. I want to show that I'm the main man, etc., etc. I did an interview recently, Antonio, talking about that and the fact that he doesn't like the idea of he wants to make it very clear he's still the main man at West Ham to be the striker, all that kind of stuff. And then you sort of 3 minutes in, you think, crying out loud, letting a player like that go so easy. It's really disappointing. All I'm saying is that you look at Onana. He's a huge guy. This is a guy that should be seriously marked. And I just felt like he got away from Antonio. Really, he just shrugged him off easily. And really bad defending that was from Antonio. And I've got to say, Areola, very disappointed. I'm going to sort of say this now. This is just my general gut. I'm still not sold on Areola at the moment. I'm still not 100% sold he's the best choice for us in terms of a goalkeeper. I'm not saying that, I'm trying to say put Fabianski and anything like that. But what I'm saying is, like, if we want to think of a long-term goalkeeper, I'm still not sold. It's things like that worry me. Like, why aren't you commanding your box? Just go and punch the ball clear. Go and deal with. It's the fact he just stays rooted to his line. I just don't know why would you stay rooted to your line when the ball was actually that close? You consider where his head connected with that ball, Onana, and how far he is away from the goalkeeper. And he's just not moved. I find that really odd. And I'm sorry, I can't accept that. I just think as a goalkeeper, you've got the advantage. You can use your arms, you can use your hands. Get up there and get that ball. Do you know what I mean? And so there's two things that really annoyed me with that. As I say, Antonio's marking and the goalkeeper, I just don't know what he senses. Why? Because at the end of the day as well, if someone's going to connect with the ball there, what are the chances, unless it's directly at you, you're going to save it? The reality is, if it's slightly away from you, it's going to go in because they're literally like a yard or two away from you. It really winds me up that. And the more I watch back at it, that hits me more and more. I'm looking at the goalkeeper there. So although I'm annoyed at Antonio for the defending, I'm more annoyed at the goalkeeper, just not commanding his box at all. All in all, really bad. And it was disappointing way to start a game under a new manager, under a new system, and all this excitement going on, new season. Barely settled down. Do you know what I mean? You're sort of getting used to. Oh, yeah, this is getting a bit exciting, and then all of a sudden you 1-0 down. So that was annoying. And to be honest with you, I felt that after that, we for a long period. For that half, we were struggling. We really were. I think Aston Villa looked far more dominant on the ball. They looked. What it looked like to me was exactly what it is: an established side that are really decent, settled, going to be challenging for Europe again this season. They're in the Champions League. You could just see this was a really decent Premier League side, and then this kind of new side of players looking a bit lost. Struggling a little bit to get the grips of things. And so, as I say, I really want to make it clear, this is not a doom and gloom video where I'm trying to be like, oh my God, it's an absolute nightmare. I don't feel like that actually at all. I'm just disappointed because West Ham have lost, and I don't like West Ham losing because I'm, naturally I'm going to feel that way. But that's how I felt with that. I was watching that thinking, well, this is how it looks. We look like a side that's still trying to get the grips with things. But then we got a penalty. We got a penalty with sort of, 10 minutes to go before half time. It was a bit 50-50. It was a bit 50-50. It's one of those where basically Matty Cash goes in to challenge the ball from Souček. By the way, Souček brings the ball down beautifully, but the ball comes over. He chests it down to his path, brings it down, and really cleverly, as Matty Cash is bringing the ball, coming to challenge, he just moves the ball away. He's guiding it away from it. Matty Cash actually gets a touch on the ball. He does get a toe on him, but he really does hit Souček as well. He really gets caught up in his legs and brings him down. So it's hard. It is hard. When the first challenge first happened, I thought it was the first replay. So I thought, oh yeah, it doesn't look like a penalty. Then I realised he touched the ball. So that's the bit that makes you go, oh, is it or is it not? But I did think he got quite a lot of the player. Do you know what I mean? It's like the touch on the ball was literally minuscule. It touched the ball with his toe, and then but he really got caught up in the player. So look, if I'm a Villa fan, I'll be really annoyed. If I'm a West Ham fan, do you know what I mean? It was one of those. I think it was a bit sort of 50-50. It could have gone either way. But we got it. We got it. It went to VAR. They gave the penalty, which was obviously pleasing, and we needed that. Lucas Paqueta, I mean, stunning penalty, considering the fact he's, taken against Martinez, who is exceptionally good at stopping penalties, as we know. But he just did. I love the fact he can do, the Ivan Toney. He doesn't look at the ball. He's just watching the goalkeeper the whole time, and he just goes up and he takes the penalty. Do you know what I mean? I couldn't do that watching the ball. Do you know what I mean? Let alone he does it comfortably without looking at it. It's just really clever, and I like it. And it's horrible watching it. Do you know what I mean? When he goes up really slow, you're like, oh no, what's he going to do? You feel like he's going to embarrass himself here. But yeah, tucks it away lovely. 1-1. And I've got to say, I felt at that point this was like possibly our best spell for like a chunk of the period, because for the remaining of the first half, then we were on top. We played some good football. We had some good energy. You could see the crowd were up. It felt better. I felt like, here we go. We clicked into gear, and we looked like the more likely side to go on than to get the next goal. That's how it felt, Half time comes, and it was a little bit, at that point you're thinking very 50-50. I've got to admit, as a fan, then I'm thinking if we can get a point, I'd probably take it. Do you know what I mean? Like, because I knew it was going to be a very difficult second half with Villa, with what they've got on the bench. Like us, don't get me wrong, we had a very strong bench because of Lopetegui. I probably should have talked about the lineup first. He opted for really a lot of the old guard, actually. Vladimir Coufal right back, which I thought was the wrong call. He went for Mavropanos at the back with Kilman. And yeah, sorry to forget that. But yeah, it was Mavropanos and Kilman as the back two, who, by the way, I thought played well. I thought the pair of them played well. I didn't. There was no issue with the defence for me, really, to be honest. A couple of bits, but overall, I thought they both. I thought Mavropanos actually had a decent game, so I wasn't too fussed about that. I would have liked to have seen Todibo, but I understand why he didn't start. But the right back, no, I wasn't happy with Coufal starting. I think he hasn't warranted really that at the moment. I wanted to see Wan-Bissaka in there. I thought he could have just come in and done a job, but that's to be said. Maybe he's not match fit. I'm not sure. We know he's played some pre-season for Man United, so I did struggle with that. Midfield, then we had Rodriguez and Souček in there. I did say in the preview I'd liked that midfield. I thought that would have been the better midfield, just because I wanted to have a bit of muscle in there to help the defence out, especially with Souček being there. Yeah, and Antonio up front as well. I think there was a few disappointed fans out there, I think, and understandably so. They want to see the new players in. So we had quite a strong bench there. We had Fulkrug on the bench. You had Somerville. So it was likely to be that West Ham were going to ring some changes as well. But I felt Villa's bench was very strong. And, Duran, of course, being on it as well. He just knew he was going to make an appearance. And I just, so when it got to half time, I was concerned about that. I've got to admit, I kind of was dreading the second half in a way because I thought we're going to be tired. This is going to be a tough half. But I actually thought that we didn't play bad overall second half. I thought that we had some decent spells. Villa deserved to win. I want to make that really clear. I don't think West Ham deserved to win this game, really, but I did feel it was a fair result overall. But I actually thought the second half we weren't too bad. We had moments where it could have been a lot better. We held the ball. That's something we've not been used to. I think we actually had more possession overall, just about than Villa. I think it was 51-49%, which we're not used to as West Ham. Again, this is always showing that there is a new system at play here. But I thought overall the second half. We had moments that we could have done better, and I felt that we did have a few chances. Danny Ings with a header, thought we should have done better towards the end. And then they got their winner. It was Duran. Basically, it was a good move from Aston Villa. I want to say this. It was a slick move right at the death, and it had to be Duran, didn't it? It just had to be Duran. He slots it away, fires it under Ariola. I don't really blame the goalkeeper for this one. I thought actually he didn't do a lot wrong. It was just a really good finish. It gets low. It's just like a bullet under. It just goes under the goalkeeper. There's not much he could really do about it. I don't think. I want to see a bit positional, but it was decent. He didn't do enough wrong for me to sort of have a pop it in there. But I thought Soufal was poor at that goal though, because it just seemed like it was quite a simple build up. I mean, it was good, it was slick, it was nice, but it was kind of obvious what they were trying to do, but we just seemed like all over the shop at the back. Again, sort of goes back to my point, looking that side that's a little bit, we're just not quite in sync yet. It didn't feel like this is a really a team that look like they are settled at all at the moment. You can see this is quite a new thing going on at the moment, West Ham, and that kind of goal proved it. You just look at it, you could just see that players look a little bit lost to who's around them, because it felt like we could have handled that better and dealt with that better. But it is what it is. It was Villa's substitutes actually. It linked up as well for the goal, so it was just really disappointing. And then we huffed and we puffed at the end. We tried to nick a last minute equaliser. We nearly did to Thomas Souček. He had a chance of a header. He should have done better with it. He then got a second stab at it. The ball bounces down. He just couldn't get over the ball, basically. If he'd got over the ball a bit more, he would have fired it into the net. He just fired it just over. Obviously, really gutting, because that was pretty much the last kick of the game, and it would have nicked a draw. But as I say, it wasn't as if I watched it and thought, God, we really deserved this draw. No, it wouldn't have been horrendous. I wouldn't have been like, oh my God, we got away with it. But the overall result, I think Villa were the better side, because they are at this stage. If you're comparing Aston Villa and West Ham, they just are a better side at the moment. They're more settled. We need time to get to grips with things, and that's why I'm really not going down this sort of thought process of anything's doom and gloom at the moment. A few comments I do want to say. I think, as I say, I've talked about the lineup. I think that there was a few issues there, and my main one being the right back. Vladimir Soufal is not fitting into the system at the moment. He looks quite out of sorts, and seen that a little bit in the pre-season. I'm just not feeling it with him at the moment, and I just think that Wan-Bissaka should have started. I think I mean, I don't know enough about his fitness, obviously, so it's hard to say. But if he's available, the fact he was there on the bench, I think I would have rather seen him play, to be honest. I'm imagining that will be the case against Crystal Palace. I'd be really surprised to see Soufal start again. I thought he really did struggle in that game. They targeted him, actually, I felt, in that game, which was a bit disappointing. Rodriguez as well, I think, really struggled with the pace of the game, which is a little bit alarming to watch. I thought it was a bit of a concern. I remember sort of main gripes, actually, but I actually thought on the whole, overall, it wasn't that bad. I thought that we had moments we looked better. I mean, even Jared Bowen pretty much said the exact same thing. He said, you feel moments in the game we were starting to click a little bit. And I sort of saw moments of that. I thought, actually, we're playing some good football. We were looking okay. Big highlights I do want to say, though, and the biggest one for me was Somerville as well. He came on, and with sort of like 20 minutes to go. He looked really good, actually. I thought he looked so lively and very good on the ball, confident, and he was causing them all sorts of problems. I was really, really pleased. I think he was the one that set up Danny Ings towards the end. He whipped in a lovely cross, and Danny Ings really should have done better with his header as well. That was he could have, and he should have, could have and should have done better. That's my sort of kind of last sort of points of the game. Look, as I say, I really don't want to go down this worrying sort of concern route here at the moment. I just think it's unnecessary. It's really early in the season. We just don't need that sort of negative energy at the moment. I just don't, you know what I mean? It's just not needed. It's not warranted. I don't think. This is the first game of the season. It's a very tough side, and I actually don't. As I say, we were actually on a whisker away actually from nicking a draw, which would have been great. Do you know what I mean? That would have been a nice point to kick off with. But look, we didn't get it. We lose, and we move on from it. I don't think it's all doom and gloom. I think there's a lot of potential here, and of course as well, you've got to bear in mind this was a lot of the former players. I don't think are going to be first starters this season going forward. I don't think, as I say, Soufal will be. Fulkrug, I think, will be more involved. I think you'll see Somerville more involved. There's a few things I think could have been done better. The subs, I think, in that game were a little bit odd. But again, as well, I do have the manager. I'll give the manager the benefit of doubt with that because it's the first game of the season, just back from pre-season, and we've said the Euros, etc. You do sometimes wonder where the fitness levels are at with certain players. You can see that some players are struggling. Bowen, I thought, he looked leggy actually a bit. Bowen, a little bit tired, just a little, not quite right, not himself, not as sharp and fresh as you want to see him just yet. So again, might just be a player just struggling just to get back up to speed with things. It wasn't the best day. I'm not going to sit here and try and sugarcoat and say it was. There was lots to take from it. There were a few positives, but a few negatives. There's a lot to be done. Lopetegui knows that. He's not going to. He's not naive, and I think that I'm expecting better against Crystal Palace, actually. I think that there's an opportunity there to get this, just to get the first points on the board. I'm not suggesting we go to Palace and win, but it'd be nice to get a better performance, get something from that game, lift the mood a little bit, because obviously we've got City after that, and we really need, because that's going to be very, very tough, as we know. But yeah, I think that there's a lot to be optimistic about. I think, we've still got the transfer window as well to carry on. I think we were expecting another 2 through the door at least. And John Duran, by the way, so I had to talk about him, but he had to be him, didn't it? It had to be John Duran that bloody nicked that game. Bloody hell, that's painful. And he did all this stuff at the end when he was celebrating. He was tapping the Villa badge and saying, "I'm staying." Do you know what? It was just Marco Arnautovic to me. I'm looking at him, that's the crap that we spot with him. Do you remember? He did the West Ham, didn't he? Do you remember when he was leaving? I'm going nowhere. I'm staying, and all of a sudden, a few weeks later, it was off. Yeah, really odd. A bit nonsensical, that crap from him. But I just knew it. I knew he'd score. The second he came on, you just know, Duran's going to score. He's going to score the winner. It was just written in the stars. You just know it is, and it happened. But as I say, I'm disappointed, but I'm not angry or worried or upset or anything like that. I'm more just looking forward to the next game now. I want to see this team start evolving quickly. Todibo, I'd like to see more of. He looked great, by the way. Only come on very short period, but he looked decent. I actually thought Kilman looked good as well. I was quite impressed with Kilman. I thought he made some great challenges, and I thought he actually had a good game. I was quite impressed with him. I'd say Mavropanos as well actually impressed me, which was I was quite surprised about. I wasn't expecting that kind of performance from him, but he did very well. As I say, Somerville really, he came on and he made a difference, and I'm thinking I want him starting. He needs to get a system in place, so he's part of it, because he was very, very good. There were positives, and despite there are some negatives and lots of work for Lopetegui to do, I think I'd rather focus on the positives this, and also keep a lot of things bearing in mind about who we were playing and the circumstances surrounding the game. So yeah, disappointing, but my word, I think, come on, patience is needed. Come on, you ones.